A big part of going from an idea to making it a reality is actually having a fairly good visualization of what your problem is that you're trying to solve. And Dan Rome, the author of The Back of the Napkin and Unfolding the Napkin, is actually an expert on this topic. He took a few minutes to give us his takeaway on how to get your ideas down on paper.
This is Dan Rome. I'm the author of The Back of the Napkin, Solving Problems and Selling Ideas with Pictures. And if that subtitle didn't tell you, I'm a big believer that we can solve our problems with simple pictures. I've also just finished my second book, which is called Unfolding the Napkin, which is really broken down into a 4-day workbook to help anybody understand exactly how to go about creating these simple pictures that help us solve complex problems, especially people who think that they can't draw. One of the biggest problems we have in solving problems is that we don't really understand what is the scope of the problem that we're looking at. So what I strongly suggest is before we start thinking up solutions, we start to draw some very simple pictures that help us see exactly what the problem is that's in front of us. And what I mean by that is drawing up simple stick figures and circles and boxes that say, here are the people involved in this particular problem. Here's what some of the inputs are into this problem. Here's how big the problem is. Here are some of the other pieces and how they relate to the problem. Because by drawing these things out and then being able to literally see them, all of a sudden our brains start to see ways to solve that problem that would have been invisible if we'd just been talking about it. One of the things that I've noticed in working with hundreds of different business people is the challenge with reaching our vision is we often don't know where we're starting. And so if I look at the word vision, I ask, well, where does that word come from? Well, it comes from seeing, which takes us back to our pictures. So what I'll suggest to someone is say, before you start defining your vision, take a piece of paper and draw a little circle in the middle and give it a label and label that me and make it even more specific. Label it me today. And now off on some other part of the paper, draw another circle and label that one me tomorrow. And this second circle is what represents what my vision is. And then ask yourself, what's the difference between these two circles? Is my vision circle going to be bigger than my present day circle? Is it going to be higher up on the piece of paper or further away? How far away will it be? How different will it be? What color would it be? Would it be a different color? Would it be a different shape? And all of a sudden, we're defining what our vision is based on looking at the way we see ourselves today in a difference from what we see ourselves being in the future. And all of a sudden, our vision becomes much more clear. And then the beauty of it is we've got these two shapes drawn on the paper, draw a line between them. And then along that line, start to mark out, well, what are the steps I would need to take to go from my today circle to my vision circle? Recently, I became very concerned about the status of the healthcare debate in the United States. When people started to go to town halls that were meant to talk about the nuances and the interesting areas of healthcare reform, and people started getting in fights and bringing guns, I thought, whoa, the message is clearly not being articulated well what healthcare reform is about. So I thought, well, if I really believe we can solve problems with pictures, let me go ahead and attack this healthcare reform issue. So I worked with some friends and colleagues who have in-depth knowledge of the healthcare field, and we created a set of very simple pictures that explain exactly what the fundamental issues of healthcare are in the United States today, and exactly what the various pieces of legislation that are being debated on the Hill would look like. And I posted this very simple set of pictures on the internet, and within a couple of weeks, it had over 250,000 downloads. Now, you know, when you think about it, when Britney Spears has a new song and it's released online, you know, she gets 30 million downloads overnight. So 250,000 isn't that great. But think about this. It's a PowerPoint presentation about healthcare. What could be more boring on earth? And the fact that I've had 250,000 people look at it from all across the political spectrum, all of whom comment back, those who comment, saying, thank you, this is the clearest description through your simple pictures of what the real issues are. And then I got asked, based on that, by the White House Office of Communications to come and talk with them about possible ways of using simple pictures to clarify other policy issues as well. If you would like to look at those healthcare back-the-napkin sketches, they're available on slideshare.net, and just look up Dan Rome or healthcare napkins, and you'll see them. I always like to recommend that people begin this business of solving problems with pictures by thinking about this. The next time we have a problem of any sort, financial, personal, business-related, program management, you name it, take a piece of paper, take a pen, and draw that first circle and give it that first label, and guaranteed new ideas will start to become visible immediately.